So, talking about Nebraska, just mentioned Naor, who's coming from there. Obviously, they're trying to get some weapons around Dylan Raiola. Showed some signs this year, but all in all, the consistency needs to be better. Brandon, what's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you joining us. Hardley Gilmore comes in now as a transfer from Kentucky. Just looking at the box scores, looking at the numbers, only 6 receptions, 154 yards, and a touchdown as a freshman. But a guy that I think a lot of people are excited about. There's a lot of physical development there. He has the frame you're looking for. Guy out of a Belle Glade area in Florida that has always produced a ton of talent at the skill positions. So what do you see in this one as Da'Keel Shorts, wide receiver coach at Nebraska, gets another one over there with a lot of talent?
Yeah, this is an area that we are both very familiar with. I was actually just in Belle Glade a couple days ago to go bass fishing right there on Lake Okeechobee. The best bass fishing in the world is right there in Lake Okeechobee. But this area is known. They call it the muck because the soil is unique and very fertile. There's a lot of sugar there. So this historically has been the best area in the world for football players per capita. I mean, just to give you some wide receiver examples about Santonio Holmes, Anquan Bolden coming out of this area. And this is these are small towns. This is farm famers, Super Bowl MVPs. It's gone down lately in quality because a lot of the players just a lot of people in general are starting to move more towards West Palm Beach, which would be east. But Gilmore is somebody who has been a standout there, was a standout track athlete, 3rd of the state in the long jump, had a PR of 22 and 6.25 inches, 6th in the state in the 800 meters. So he's got endurance on top of the explosiveness. He's a big body, 6 foot 180. But when you look at him, I think he's going to be bigger than that when he gets in that strength program at Nebraska. Not quite Dan Keith from a physicality standpoint, but he is very physical. Obviously, has the relationship with Shorts, has the relationship with Key, goes along with them. And Nebraska's had success with South Florida players. Of course, Ja'Cory Barney from Miami, Florida, had a very good freshman season for him, but he's more of a get the ball in his hands, let him be explosive, let him do stuff with the ball. Gilmore's a downfield guy, can use his size, very good hands, very athletic, and someone who could jump up, win contested catches, but also has speed to get downfield. He missed the first 5 games with that collarbone injury, but he was on pace for a monster year, had a very, very good camp. We heard about him a lot in camp as being one of these emerging stars in the Southeastern Conference. So I think if you're Dylan Raiola and you have Ja'Cory Barney as your speedy guy, you have Danke as your veteran contested catch guy, just your big body, and then Gilmore as sort of a combination of the two, that is a fully loaded wide receiving group for one of the best young quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And I think if you're Matt Rule, starting that pipeline in South Florida, where you're getting guys that don't necessarily go to Miami or elsewhere, you look at this year, you go down to Homestead, Florida to get a Cortez Mills from South Florida. It's starting to be a pattern here of Nebraska going to South Florida, 2 wide receivers, to its room. And if they could show they can get the most out of those guys and produce, you'll see other South Florida receivers look to Nebraska as a destination.
Let's not forget that they also added Isaiah Hunter from Cal as well, 6'2", 210-pound freshman this year. So he's got multiple years of eligibility. Put up 40 catches, 578 yards, 5 touchdowns on 14.4 yards per catch this year. So that's a big play receiver, was one of Fernando Mendoza's top targets this year at Cal. It's a nice little room they're putting around Raiola.
Yeah, and glad you brought that up. We talked about that in earlier episodes. If you're a Nebraska fan, we've, for all these pickups, we've been doing episodes here on Group Chat Sports. But yeah, man, it's a nice room, well balanced, no excuses. Now you're hitting your second year as for Dylan Raiola. You got to put up numbers. He showed his talent as a freshman here, but as far as like taking that step into being a true college star, I think next year really is the year where you'd expect significant production, 20, 30 type touchdowns and, increased yards per attempt and just overall better play. Again, true freshman starting in the Big Ten. That's a tough deal, but now you got the pieces. It's time to work.